as soon as I got the call to say you've got a chance, it kind of gave me something to go ahead and fight for again. And I was already staying fit and sharp. Felt like I had imposter syndrome for a bit because you are always known as an athlete, you're always known as somebody who's going to make it in football in the world. I did another trial, which I will called again, and that was like the final team. I remember going on Instagram and I've seen all the squads listed for each team, and I was like, in terms of the startup, it's definitely travel, because I want to be able to and still chase, but I think the main aspect for me was financially. I wasn't able to kind of support myself financially.
Sandy, welcome to the Second Wind Academy podcast, all about finding career clarity.
Very nice to meet you, Ryan. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, you are more than welcome. And it's good you are out and about. We'll have a good conversation today, I'm sure. Pick up where we left off last time and learn a little bit more about what you're up to and some of your background.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey so far, and I'm very excited to share with yourself and everyone else who's listening.
Good man. It's exactly what we want to hear. Well, let's kick off. Tell us a bit about who you are and I suppose what you're currently working on.
So, who am I? Firstly, I was born in South Africa. I came to the UK when I was 2 years old, so roughly 2000, 2005 or so. And so I started playing football from a young age, since the age of 6, I'd like to say. And since then it's been a football journey up till now. I've kind of just graduated in software engineering, and currently in a mix of starting my own startup company in agriculture.
Well, I like the sound of that. Tell me more about what you're starting up in agriculture.
So I have a few meetings with a few farmers down in South Africa. It's something to do with blockchain technology in the farmers trading world, just to kind of secure and provide safety to farmers and access to world markets in terms of trading. So it's something excited. It's exciting. I've been cooking up recently.
Right. Well, I may be asking you loads of questions more about that. Blockchain technology is something I've certainly followed from my time in government as well, and I've seen it has taken off quite a bit when we look at that the farming value chain and being able to know where stock is, and as consumers we become more and more interested in, I guess, source to supermarket or source to shelf. What inspired you to sort of get into that avenue?
Recently, my parents have actually bought a farm, so they inspired me really to kind of look into the agricultural world, and it's something that's always been around since the very first ages of like human existence, like farming, building your own food. It's something that's never going to go away. So, in this world where everything's changing and there's so much uncertainty, the certainty is obviously agriculture.
Right. I like that. And that was quite interesting. I definitely like you going back into, I'm going to say, to the roots of human existence in terms of agriculture and farming. Not where I thought we were going to go today, but I quite like that. And well, when you talk about, just investigating or moving into this startup world, how have you found that?
It's been tough because I'd say allocating time to, once you've got everything else you need to do in terms of your day-to-day tasks, work, family, social life, etc., finding that time to kind of allocate it to building your own kind of business and identity. It's kind of just allocating time and effort to be able to make a good transition into that. So that's what I found difficult mostly, but I'm not kind of rushing. I know it's going to take time, so as long as there's no kind of time limit on that, it can take as long as it needs to take. But I'm sure I'll get there eventually. So
Yeah. And I guess you must have an interest in in tech then, or certainly in that blockchain technology at least. You mentioned you've just finished your or recently graduated.
Yes, yes. So I picked up software engineering 3 years ago, and I've that's what I've for the past 3 years. That's what I've devoted all my time to, learning new skills, picking up new languages, and also now since I've finished my internship at Enterprise Mobility, I've learned how to kind of incorporate tech and business. And because of the nature of enterprise and how it kind of teaches you how to control costs in the business, how to be able to just generate new costs, new business, new. It's give you all the skills you need to kind of to go. So that's what I've kind of built together, both my own learning and learning I've learned from my internship to mix together for the startup.
Yeah, I quite like that. So, what is it you're doing at Enterprise?
So I did a internship in business management, and
Hmm.
then I've been promoted as a management assistant, and I'll be looking into
Congratulations.
product ownership as well from September, etc. So I've been at the company 2.5 years, although it's been a blast. It doesn't feel like it's been that long at all.
Hmm. Oh, well, maybe we'll come back and talk a bit about what you're learning and how you're learning at Enterprise. I think as we sort of step through your journey, it's going to be quite interesting as a route to, I don't know, well, I guess this transition that we're really going to be talking about and identifying and building on some new skills. So it's going to be quite interesting to delve into how you've been able to do that through a global corporate like Enterprise. Um, Now, when we opened up, we spoke. You mentioned a little bit about football and football being a part of this journey. It sounds like sport then for you has been quite important in your life. Talk to me a little bit about the beginnings of your football journey. Where were you, and when did you start to realize, hey, I might be good at this?
So, firstly, my first kind of time playing football, it was after school. It was kind of after school social club. My parents just moved to the country, so in terms of like integration, it wasn't quite there yet, and in terms of speaking the language, etc., it took some catching up. But the coach kind of spoke to my dad and said, "You might have a play here." So that kind of got my dad kind of more invested, and he came to watch me. He used to play himself, so he kind of knows if you have if you have a bit or so. So I kind of impressed him, and then that kind of led him to signing me up to a team, just a Sunday league. And through Sunday league, within my first season, I got player of the year, and scored quite a few goals, and I was scouted for Bradford City. So that's kind of where the journey kind of took off. And
And so,
yeah,
what age?
so that was roughly under eights, under nines between those 2 years. So
You
yeah.
see, the way you talk, it's like I'm sure for many listening who aren't going to know so much about football, but what they're going to be thinking is, wow, he got scouted, there was talent. Guy must have been maybe 15, 16. But we're talking in England here, 8, 9 years old, been scouted as someone with a bit of talent and signing and at least signing in I'll say the academy or development teams of a professional club.
Yeah, so in England it can really start from very young ages. So that's where that's where really if you've got a bit from young. But sometimes there are some late bloomers, but mostly if you are young, that's where
Yeah.
most success is.
Sandy, what do you reckon they saw in you at 8, 9 years old?
I think I've changed. I think I used to be a left back, so I've kind of changed my position now. But back then I was probably a left back, so I think they saw a bit of tenacity and a bit of will to not give up. So that's kind of something that football's taught me over the years: never give up and always keep going. So
So
yeah.
talk to me about your journey. So 8, 9, you start to recognize, okay, you've got some talent. At what point did you really start to dream about what football could mean or do for you?
So I was watching Manchester United Football Club back when they were winning a lot of things. That kind of inspired me because it was like it kind of showed me where football can take you.
Hmm.
Um, so seeing them win, and I was going through a time where I was winning as well. I was also winning like managers, player of the years, top goal scorers, etc. So when you're winning, you kind of take that you're in your flow state where you continue winning and you don't know anything else other than winning. So your head kind of naturally feels like you you're going to make it, like you're unstoppable. So that's kind of where football kind of played a part in me. And then so my journey from Bradford City, I stayed at Bradford City for 3 years, and then I got released, and I played. I was back playing with my Sunday League club, which is West End, which we
Yeah,
won the league that year. And from there, I kind of was going to go into just college because I didn't have any offers to play anywhere else. So I was going to go into college and do sports diploma or English language because it was GCSE time, and I did quite well. From there, one of my old coaches who used to coach me um, said he's got a position for me under the Barnsley football program.
yeah,
So I decided to give it a go. First game, did very well. It was actually a game against them, which I scored 2 goals, and then from there it was like, well, you can come back. So that's where it all started. That journey, which ended that season, which I was 16. So after that season in 2018, 29, the 18-19 season, I got Manager's Player of the Year again. So when you're getting those awards at such that age, at 16, 17, Manager's Player of the Year, you feel like you have a real opportunity and a big chance to take it to the next step, which is professional.
yeah,
But as you know, 1920 season, it was cut short due to COVID. So that kind of was a big roadblock in the journey.
yeah. So let me understand, right? You're playing at Bradford City. They released you what sounds like under 14s, 15s.
Yeah,
Yeah. You go back, you spend a year then playing park football or for your local team. You actually won, you
yeah,
guys in a good squad. You got invited to come back at Barnsley, basically as a trial for their 16s or like in their scholar program as well.
yeah. The football shadows program. Yeah,
Yeah. So you do your GCSEs, you then go full time with Barnsley. Is that right? Yeah.
yeah.
And what was that like for you then?
It was relieved hope because it kind of revived a bit of fire in me because from I was literally going to go into college, and
Mm.
I thought I'd just play maybe Saturdays, Sundays from there, and then I didn't have a plan. But as soon as I got the call to say you've got a chance, it kind of gave me something to go ahead and fight for again. And I was already staying fit and sharp because I always knew something would be around the corner. To be honest, my family went on holiday that year, but I already told them from November not to get me a ticket to go with them because I said I want to train all summer. So I already knew like there's no way I'm sitting down now. In fact, I'm gonna step it up a gear. So and sometimes the best opportunities come when you are ready, and that's where you take them because you're just ready to go, and which I was at that point.
And you mentioned something I've never heard before. You said relieved hope. Um,
Really tough.
yeah. What do you mean? Talk to me about that.
Well, when you think you've reached the end of the road, or like the doors are closed, another one opens. So I wasn't expecting it, and it just came. Like I got the call to say you can play in the chart. Actually, I was ranked on the day of the game, so I was told. So I played against them, scored 2 goals. Then on the morning the week after, they had a game against Everton. I was called and said, "Do you fancy playing?" I said, "Yeah." So that's how it like happened. It wasn't anything of where I had a plan and I knew what was going on. I was just keeping fit and staying ready, and then the opportunities came, and I took advantage.
Brilliant. Yeah. It's you were prepared, right? So
Prepared. Yeah.
prepared and the opportunity came and you took it. And it sounds like you had a stellar, an awesome season in that first year, ending in 2019. But then, like you say, COVID kicks in. COVID stopped a lot of things, and for you, it sounds like it really did halt the progress in terms of that scholarship. And so, what talk to me about what happened there. From contracts, conversations.
So COVID hit. Nobody knew how long this was going to go on for. So I remember it was that time where everybody was on Strava, just running, constantly running to keep fit because they thought maybe it's going to blow over after 1 or 2 weeks, and then your first session back at football, bleep test. So everyone like kind of was anticipating that, and the same for myself. Then it kind of went on months and months and months. Then I said, well, I was only here for two years. I've done 1 year, and I'm halfway through the second year, and COVID's happened. It's gone on for months. So by the time it's done, like I've got to move on. So, and there's no exit, Charles. You can't go to other clubs and train. You can't message anybody else. So I was kind of at a stalemate of what to do, which I had to have some conversations with my family as well to kind of say, like, what's 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 next, because financially I didn't have any backup as well at the time. So I knew if I wasn't able to figure something out, it could lead to a big delay in terms of my future.
Yeah. I mean, you were a year and a half into a scholarship, which is not awesomely paid in itself, but you're living, you're pursuing that dream.
Yeah, sure.
So when it occurred that, hold on, there's nowhere else to go, there's no other team to play for, what was going through your mind?
I think I reached a point in life where I kind of I was feeling a bit low, but I couldn't complain because it wasn't only me that was in the situation. I mean, there were people who, let's say, are professional and are out of a contract and they can't train either. So I knew that there's no point sitting down and crying about it. So I kind of took up driving lessons. So I used to just go out with my dad, just drive. So I'd put my focus and that same drive I'd usually do in football in terms of training the thoughts, and I put it into other things to help me like get around this dark time.
Right. And then what? You were driving, literally driving round and round. You were learning to
Yep,
drive, which is good. You're putting that,
learning.
you're
Yeah.
focusing. To do what? I mean, how did you figure out what was going to happen and what you were going to do next?
So as I was figuring out to drive and putting energy into elsewhere, I kind of had a conversation with my family, especially my mum, in terms of my future. She mentioned a few roles that I could, because she just graduated from the university during that time as well. So she was like, "Why don't you give like going to university a chance?" Um, there's a lot of things you could do. She mentioned like being a pilot, and my face just dropped. I was like, "Wow." Um, I don't think I'll be a pilot within 2 years, mum. But yeah, she was just saying all different type of careers which you can still like aim high to be. So she helped me enroll into mechanical engineering at Sheffield Hallam University, which I did 1 year, but I had a vision that mechanical engineering and everything's going digital software in terms of technology. So I completed that 1 year, and then I changed to software engineering.
Right. How, what was the hardest part for you from being a full time footballer to suddenly becoming a student, a mechanical engineering student?
It was like it felt like it felt like I had imposter syndrome for a bit, because you are always known as an athlete. You're always known as somebody who's going to make it in the footballing world, and then out of nowhere, it's you have to learn like pick up a new skill from scratch. Where in football, I'd say I was somebody who like knew what I was doing. It's something I did every day. It was my bed and breakfast. But when you transition into something like mechanical engineering, where you know absolutely nothing it takes a toll on you. Like you think, am I like you start doubting yourself because you're not going to get everything right straight away. You start doubting yourself. You start doubting what you can do. but it kind of gave me a reason to say, well, in football, what would I normally do? Going through bad form, bad patches. I'd train more. I'd stay after sessions, do more, do extras. So that's what I started doing in mechanical engineering. I'd do my extras there, stay. I'd speak to the lecturer, use YouTube, Google, etc. To figure out things I didn't know, and that's how I got through that first year. So I was like, well, the skills I've learned from football are universal. I can transfer them over here, so I don't have to change my identity in terms of who I am as a person. Although I might be shifting what I do day to day, I still
Yeah.
can keep what what my identity is as a person. So that's
Yeah.
how I got through that patch.
That is eloquent, right? That's really good. You hear that, and I have to say, kudos, because that type of approach, that type of thinking around your identity, and really being able to recognize imposter syndrome, really being able to recognize that you felt out of your depth, and then you were able to go back and rest and say, I can lean on the skills that made me a footballer. I can lean on those skills to help get me through this. And what is it I used to do back then? Working hard, focus, dedication. Like you said, you did extras, arrive earlier, stay later, do more. That's really mature thinking for someone at that, what were you, 19, 19, 20 years old. I'm curious then, what help, or, whilst you were a footballer, or maybe in that transition, did you have help? Did you have someone to speak to who was able to help you sort of, generate that perspective?
Normally, I'd never like asking for help because I always feel like I don't want to be a burden. I feel like everyone's going through their own situations. I think eventually I'll figure it out. But I knew if I needed somebody to speak to, I know my family's there. Um, I know there's friends and family I can go to seek that. But I kind of just took everything all on myself because I knew it's something that I need to go through. I need to feel this. If I don't feel the weight, then I have no idea what I'm getting into. So I like taking the weight and pushing it by myself. And if I need to reach out to somebody, I will.
Hmm. Yeah, it's quite funny the fact you're at a degree, you study, you're paying, you're studying, and yet you're still on YouTube and other ways to enhance that learning. I guess it's just the way we are, right? It's just the way
Just the
things
way of
are
the
now.
world, yeah.
Yeah. So that shift, I'm interested in the shift from mechanical, and then you can see this sort of future view, this view that says, okay, if everything moves, mechanical is no longer the only way. Excuse me, but we move into this digital world and beyond. What made you? How did you know that?
Through the research. So when I was researching what to do, um, I noticed software engineering. I knew computer science, etc. But well, growing up when I was younger, I was always on computers. I was like, for example, when there was a few bugs on my dad's laptop because I'd always be playing games. I'd always be like very curious on the internet. So watching Ronaldinho, Joko Benito skills on the YouTube. So I always knew that on a laptop and computer, I always had a thing for it. So
Mhm.
in terms of mechanical, I just knew after the first year of trying it, I just wanted to try it to see if it's for me, and I realized it's not something for me. So I knew the next world where everything's going digital is tech. So I just thought, well, I've got enough skills to progress in mechanical engineering because I did very well in the first year. So I started software engineering to kind of move the skills from mechanical over to software to kind of yeah be able to give myself an opportunity to be part of the new world.
Yes, yeah, that's really, really good. Really, again, a boldness to sort of make that leap, to jump out of something that you were uncomfortable with, but started to gain a level of familiarity, then to then jump again, and I guess I get reinvent what you were doing, same identity, same you, but reinvent how you were progressing in your life. So when you look back at at the degree and the experience you had as a student, uh, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as a very, very transitional like time. I had to, for example, when I first started, especially during the first 2 years, during the first year of mechanical and the first 2 years of software engineering, I was still playing football. So I was playing at Farsley Celtic and I was playing at Emily. I remember we'd have midweek games on a Monday, Tuesday, on a Monday and a Wednesday, sorry. So I'd finish university sometimes at 5 o'clock
Mm,
or 4, 3 o'clock, but I'd have a game for 8 o'clock kickoff, 6 o'clock meet. So I'd be in the lectures, not paying attention, just making sure I'm prepped for the game later on. I've got my food, I'm drinking, I'm hydrated, and my mind is constantly on what I want to do during that game. Where the lectures have kind of passed me by, so I had to have a word with myself to say, like, I know you like football so much, and I know this is you, but you will not get through your final year or do well in this course if you're still giving football the amount of like attention you're giving. So I had to slowly let go and change exactly who I was, and then which led me to when I secured my internship at Enterprise Mobility. That kind of added new skills to myself because it wasn't about me anymore. It was being about being a team again. So, for example, I was part of a team in football. Then I went from studying, being this transitional person, to caring about myself. And then now, when you move into the business world, you realize it's not about yourself. It's more about everyone else again, how the business is performing. So I had to go back to my roots again. A football, take all the teamwork, all the aspects of it, and put it back into this again. So that's how, like, I know football is strong to me because everything I've learned in life has stemmed from the pitch. Whether it's individual hard work, whether it's working in a team, whether it's showing up on time, whether it's whatever it is, it's been part of my life. So that's everything relates back to football.
yeah, God, you've reminded me of some dark times for me at university, and then trying to get out to Halifax town, evening trainings, evening games. That I can't even say balance because it isn't a balance, is it?
It's not a balance at all. It's
no,
not.
no, it is. It's just
There's
fully
only
a
one
need.
winner. There's only one winner every time. So that's why it's not a
Yeah,
balance.
yeah, that's it. And but getting through that is it's really hard. And for you to have to make that decision, for me, it was easier. I sort of ended up moving to France, and things just had to even out. I was there for work, so which meant work had to take a bit more precedent than playing football. For you, it sounds like it was a conscious decision. I mean, you're in that same environment. It was a conscious decision. I'm guessing that you were looking further ahead. You were looking beyond playing and starting to think about, well, as we say, we're on here about second wind. You were here looking at, well, actually, what is next for the rest of your life?
Exactly that. And when you look at software engineering, it's if you use the right skills and you plan well, it's a very rewarding career. So as well as football is a rewarding career, software engineering's like just as rewarding because it gives you access to starting your own business. It gives you access of having just changing the world in because everything's technology. So you have an aspect, you have a role in society to change the world. So I kind of knew that I weren't going to waste whatever I've learned during this time. I knew it wasn't going to go to waste. If anything, it'd be a good leapfrog into a bright future. So it was something definitely worth doing with no regrets.
No, which is good. So that step away from football, right? How was that accepted? Yeah, well, how was it delivered to the football team, to coaches, to family?
I kind of just, I kind of slowly just, from some, I moved away for university and I kind of just slowly just, for example, I played. I played at this team. I won't mention their name, and they put me in the 23s, and I remember we'd do a match prep, and I was performing better than some of the starters that were in the first team. And for example, I'd get the ball, they'd do it, they'd try to play out from the back, do a match prep, and I'd take the ball off them. I'd put the ball in the back of the net, and the gaffer weren't happy. And or sometimes he'd just before I'd score, he'd always like stop the game,
Yeah.
and he'd never put me in into the first team at all. And I remember the last game he watched me play, I scored a hat trick, I scored a corner, and I scored two brilliant goals. But he never gave me any praise. So that kind of took the hunger out of me, because I was like, well, I've come all the way from university. I've, I've like I've left early to be on time to play this game. Like I give it all, my all, and then I've come here and I'm performing better than some of your players, and I'm not getting the opportunity to play. So I was like, well, that's what football is. When you get to a certain age, it's more sometimes more politics than actual game. So I thought, let me get to a position where in my career that I don't have to um, depend on people's opinions and people's and so I thought, let me just kind of focus on myself, and I'll come back to the game
Yeah.
once I'm ready and I've sorted out my life. So that's kind of where. So I went to bothered anymore what people thought, whether they thought of me as a footballer or as an athlete, because I knew if I carry on caring about other people's opinions, then I'm not going to excel as far as I could, because football, it changes opinions just like that. So
So tell me then, your decisions focus on uni, ace that final year, and then you talk now about this internship that you had. Now, well, actually, yeah, take me down the path. When you say internship, what did that actually mean?
so during my second year, I was given a placement opportunity by the university to find some real work experience. So I used this opportunity because I knew, because I wasn't, because when I started software engineering, I was quite new to it. So I knew I need to get some experience before I graduate, because I need to know exactly like what I'm getting into. And Enterprise Mobility offered me. I did three interviews, and they offered me a role for a full year, and I took it. But I knew like I really need this opportunity, and I need to leverage this, because when I finish uni, I don't want to be in a position where I'm job hunting, I'm job searching, or I'm starting from square one. I want to be able to keep going. So I worked very well during my year as an internship. I got to the regional finals of the intern of the year competition that they hold. I
What
was also sorry.
what does that mean? How do they measure interns?
So there's interns in many departments, in daily rental, in the management, in the tech area. So there's so many core aspects of the business, and you are nominated by your line manager, um, and then you go into like an area competition. They just so you have to give like a business improvement idea, any community work you've been doing, and also like your just how you've conducted yourself during the year. So you are ranked on these three things, and I won my area competition. I was nominated for quite a few elite wins, Employee of the Month awards, etc. So then I got to the regional finals, which I did very well in, but I didn't get through to the head office finals. But the regional finals kind of was a stalemate to say I've done very well, which
Yeah.
leads into getting promoted as a management assistant, and also being given a campus brand manager role, which is where, like at my university, I would be in charge of like hiring. So anybody who had any questions about internships or was in the same position as me, who maybe was in the sporting world and was trying to find their second wind, or anybody who was looking for business internships or graduate roles, I would be the person they speak to because I've had experience during my years in intern and also career transitions as well. So that was what came out of that internship that year.
Yeah, wonderful. Great way to give back as well. So you were developing your skills, and you were able then to share that story with others. And I think that's great, and it's actually really positive that enterprise encouraged that really early on, because it means that you've, like you were saying, you've got individuals at university perhaps coming through with that sporting background who can see someone like them, see someone who's been along that similar path, and it just breaks down barriers much sooner.
Yeah, and which kind of led me into, let's say, the final year. This is a funny story actually. So because I wasn't playing much football, I decided for my final year at university I was going to sign up for the men's football team. So it was quite a few trials. So I think there was 3 trials or so. So I've gone to the first trial, and they had to take your name down to invite you to the second trial or the third trial. I went and trialed, which they took my name down, but when it came to the second trial, I weren't called. I weren't called for another trial, and it was like the third final trial. It was like the teams they did another trial, which I weren't called again, and that was like the final team. I remember going on Instagram and I've seen all the squads listed for each team, and I was like, how have I not made this team? But I was that confident in my abilities. I said, well, the first training session of the first team, I'm going. So I've turned up. I've turned up to the first session of the first team, and I've kind of just kind of I've just run in with the boys, and I've just kind of blended in, thinking that nobody would notice because it's the first session, so hopefully nobody knows each other. And then we've come back and we're in a circle, and the gaffer stood right across me, and he's looked at me. He's knew straight away. He knew straight away I wasn't supposed to be there. So he said he's called me out in front of everybody. He's called me out. He's gone and said, "Who are you, son?" And I said, "I'm Sandy." And he goes, "Are you in this team?" Um, I said something along the lines of, "I should be," or yeah, I was told to come down. And he was waiting on two players that were late. So he goes, "Are you any good?" And I said, "That's for you to judge." And he goes to the boys, "Does anyone here know him?" All the boys have looked at me, and I've kind of gone. I said, "Oh, I'm in trouble here." And then he goes, "Well, it's your lucky day. 2 lads haven't turned up yet, so you can take their place until they get back." So first session, he goes, "Well, I'll have a look at you. If you're any good, we'll see." First drill, the boys are gonna wrap the ball into me straight away. Touch was okay, and did very well. And from that day, I was told I'd be part of the first team. But it was kind of like I was confident in my abilities, like I knew exactly
Yeah,
what I could do, and I wasn't taking no for an answer. And which led me to mix my role as a campus bar manager at Enterprise with being in a football team. So like the boys, if they were in the same situation as where they used to like play professionally, etc. Like some lads got released from Chesterfield,
yeah.
like literally just been released. So everyone was in different positions in life. I was there
Yeah.
to talk to. So yeah,
That's good you took that role as well. I love the confidence.
yeah,
That confidence on field, it's something else, right? You've you
definitely,
didn't lose that.
yeah. I'll never forget that moment, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good story. It's one to it's definitely one to remember, because it tells a lot about you as an individual. But not only that, so you have the guts to rock up, the courage to say, to be there, and then the humility perhaps to then, are you any good? Well, that's for you to find out, when simply by listing out your playing CV, he would have gone, yeah, well, I don't know why I've missed you. So
Yeah,
no, that's good. Yeah, I guess demonstrating your excellence, or one's excellence, is that's pretty cool. So The internship, so enterprise mobility. Just tell me a little bit. What is enterprise? I know enterprise rent a car. I'm cool. What is enterprise mobility?
So Enterprise Mobility is the biggest transportation company in the world. They are branching out into many different avenues, such as, for example, in America, they're based in America. They're America's seventh largest private company, so they are branching out into different things such as car sales and stuff. So over in the UK, it's going to take some time to kind of integrate. But Enterprise Mobility kind of is just like a company that kind of supports communities by mainly travel transportation, such as the rent a car, such as flexi rent, for example. There's a few like ambulances and all sorts which are owned by enterprise, but they're just leased to different countries. There's also so like whatever the needs of the public are in terms of transportation, enterprise mobility is a forefront in terms of that.
And so, when you think about what you've learned by doing the internship and continuing on as you are now, what would you say some of the key things you've learned from your time there?
I think customer service is number one thing I've learned from my internship at Enterprise, because without the community and having that good customer service, you can't excel in anything you do. You've got to be able to greet people, be warm to people, do just go the extra mile for people, because what tends to happen is people will do the same to you, or they'll always come to you. So it doesn't matter what you do. If you're always nice to people and you treat people with respect and you're always open to people, you'll always do well no matter what. That's the number one thing I've taken from this company. So
Okay. Now, when you think, last couple of questions really. First one is, and you've probably had a lot of practice saying this, but when you think about athletes, be it professional footballers or professional sport, any full time sport, where they start to see, I guess from a career perspective, their athletic career, perhaps it's going to stop, or, they're not sure what's going to be next. When you think about the journey you've had, what advice would you give to athletes contemplating what they should do in their life outside of sport?
I would say stick to your roots. What is something that makes you unique, or what makes you you? Because what you find is that skill, what makes yourself unique, can be transferable into any aspect in life or any avenue. So I would kind of sit down with yourself and just write down or look over, if you got a phone and some memories, just look over a few things that have made yourself. Are you funny? Are you warm? Are you somebody who likes to work long hours? It's just about what it is that makes you you. You can transfer that skill into something else. So I would always say that, yeah, just go back to your roots, and because everybody's different, so there's always a role out there for whatever you are good at.
Yeah. So what you're really saying, if I add to that is, you know, look inward a little bit, but try and figure out who you are. But look back. I like the way you described. Look at your phone. Maybe look at the photographs, the memories that might pop up, and be able to see, are there any clues from there that can help you understand? Oh, I was good at that. I enjoyed that. This is what I excelled at, and then write them down. Perhaps journal, and start to see if those things start to show up as you look forward and move forward as well.
Exactly that, and also if you're unsure, speak to the people who know you the best. Just ask them what is something that makes me the person you like to speak to every day. Then through that you'll get little signs, because in life, every relationship, people have like different thoughts of you. Some the same, but some different. So you if you don't ask, you won't know and build that full outer picture of yourself. So yeah, I would say ask questions about yourself. Don't be afraid to speak to the person that you love the most, and just find out more about yourself.
Nicely said. Nicely said.
Self learning.
Yeah. Now, when you think then about where you're going next, you opened up talking a bit about the business, agriculture, something that you're exploring on the side of, what sounds like an awesome opportunity at enterprise as well, but is down, I guess, that agriculture, blockchain, so looking at technology. What's next for you? What's the next big dream?
My next big dream is I want to be back on a pitch. That's number one for me, because I did promise myself to take 3 4 years out to get the degree. I've got the degree, so I need to get back on the pitch because I feel like I'd be doing myself an injustice. But in terms of the startup, it's definitely travel, because I want to be able to speak to a variety of different people, look at different areas, see what the market is in different situations and how people are feeling to get an overall aspect. Because I don't think I'll be able to progress without taking into account how people feel about the current market, the current trading, and stuff. So it's kind of just interviewing a lot of people first before making decisions, and find out if I can problem solve, find out what barriers people are facing, and see if there's anything I can do to kind of to close the gap on that. And in terms of my career, I definitely want to progress at enterprise mobility, more into the product ownership role, because it's what product ownership is mixing tech and business. So using my skills that I've learned at university during software engineering, and also my networking profession, and speaking to people, and interviewing, and all sorts. I think I can mix that into business as well. So that's why I would want to go into product ownership, and hopefully stay at enterprise mobility long term, in that aspect as well. So
Mm.
those are the kind of the three goals for me at the minute. So
Yes, those are three big goals, but I'm excited by those. I think all three of them. I look forward. I look forward to watching. I look forward to keeping in touch and sharing that journey with you. I want to see where football can take you, getting back on the field, understanding where, from a corporate perspective, sounds like you've got a lot to keep learning at Enterprise, and it's an organisation that wants to keep giving. And you know, I got yeah. Go on, sorry.
Speaking on enterprise mobility, we've recently just announced a partnership with the Football National League. So,
Oh,
and we also sponsor the Europa League. So it's a company that's like deep
yeah,
into the football world currently at the minute. So it just feels like the right place to be, um,
yes.
for myself at the minute.
Well, that's great. That's probably another avenue to try and work your way in, and
Oh yeah,
see
sure.
more awards there. They're going to need people with a football background, surely, to get involved and
It
get
would
to
make
more
sense.
games.
Yeah, it would make sense.
We're going to start the campaign right here, so that's it. So we'll use that. And I was just going to say, just adding on, and continuing to explore technology, and especially see how that can help your parents and their farm. I think the bit that I'm going to be interested, and we're going to have to get you back on in years to come, is we spoke about our experience of trying to be a semi-professional footballer whilst going through university, and it wasn't, it was hard to get any sort of balance and be able to figure out where your mind and body needed to be to get them in the same place. So as you progress, I'll be interested to see how you manage to find some sort of balance, some sort of equilibrium across those three things as you start to move forward.
That's a very interesting. That's what I'm waiting to see as well myself, and I want to see the. I'm excited to see the challenge, being able to play and still chase. But I think the main aspect for me was financially. I weren't able to kind of support myself financially, play and learn, but kind of now it's more of I'm stable financially now, so I can afford to travel to games. I don't have to rely on football as a source of income. So it's kind of something that I want. I'm in the driver's seat now, so that's the main box ticked off, that I can decide if I want to do this or not. Not
That's
kind
it.
of relying on source of income.
Yeah, interesting. You set yourself up so you can have a bit more control of your destiny. Control the controllables, as we said when we're on
Sure.
field, and that's
Yeah.
it. Listen, Sandy, I've got to say massive thanks for joining me, for sharing your journey and showing where you're heading next. It's been absolutely brilliant to get a bit of your perspective.
Thank you, Ryan, for the opportunity, and I've always been a fan of yourself. So, Thank you, and I look forward to listening to more interviews and podcasts of people chasing their second wind as well. So, thank you again. You have a great day.